Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're looking into the connections, really, between love, wisdom, and transformation. We're doing this through Elif Shafak's amazing novel, The 40 Rules of Love, which came out back in 2009. Our goal here, our mission if you like, is to see how Shafak managed to bridge ancient Sufi ideas with modern feelings of longing, and how this deep spiritual kind of love can just completely reshape lives, identities, even core beliefs. What's really gripping is it's not just about Rumi, who so many know. It brings Shams of Tabriz right into focus. He was the mystic flame that really set Rumi's soul alight.
Exactly. And this book, it's such a skillful mix. It's got deep historical roots, definitely, but it goes way beyond just history. Shafak creates this unique blend. It's historical fiction, yes, but it's packed with spiritual and philosophical layers. And maybe just quickly, for anyone less familiar, Sufism is that mystical side of Islam. It's all about interconnection, direct union with God, often through really intense love and devotion. The novel uses this distinctive dual timeline structure. It weaves two stories together, which creates this really rich picture for you, the listener, to explore.
Yeah, the dual structure is key, isn't it? It sets the whole thing up, weaving these two different stories across centuries. So first up, we've got the modern story. 2008, we follow Ella Rubinstein. Ella, she's a 40-year-old Jewish housewife living in Massachusetts. And her life, as the book shows it, well, her marriage feels pretty empty, passionless. Her sense of self seems kind of lost under all the domestic stuff.
Right. And her journey really kicks off when she gets this assignment. She's a reader for a literary agency. She has to review this manuscript, Sweet Blasphemy, written by a very mysterious author, A.Z. Zahara. So as Ella reads, she gets completely drawn in, not just by the story, but by the author himself. They start emailing, and it grows into this really deep, spiritual, emotional connection. And this connection, it really pushes Ella to question, well, everything, her faith, her marriage, her whole way of being.
And that really stands out against the second timeline, doesn't it? The one set way back in the 13th century in Konya.
Yeah.
This is where we meet Shams of Tabriz. He's this wandering dervish on a sort of solo spiritual mission, looking for someone who truly gets him, spiritually speaking.
And he finds that person in Rumi, who at that point is this highly respected Islamic scholar, a jurist, very conventional, really. But Shams doesn't just, chat with Rumi. He completely turns Rumi's world upside down, replaces that rigid intellect with the fire, the real heat of divine love. Their connection, this intense bond, it absolutely scandalizes Rumi's conservative community, leads to jealousy, gossip, and ultimately tragedy. But it's through Shams that Rumi goes beyond being just a famous scholar. He has this profound spiritual awakening, becomes the mystic poet whose words still hit us so hard today.
And the title, The 40 Rules of Love, comes directly from that. These are spiritual ideas, principles spoken by Shams in the book. It's really important to get that these aren't just, tips for romance. They're metaphysical, mystical, deeply Sufi, guides for inner change.
Exactly. And what Shafak does so cleverly is use these rules not just as moral lessons, but woven into the plot. Both the historical characters and Ella, they actually live through these rules, feel their power. One rule says, the path to the truth is a labor of the heart, not of the head. Simple, but profound. Another one is, try not to resist the changes that come your way. Easier said than done sometimes. And this one's beautiful. East, west, south, or north makes little difference. No matter what your destination, just be sure to make every journey a journey within. So these rules, they're not just abstract thoughts. They're like a practical toolkit for looking inward, dropping the ego, facing uncertainty, and living through love.
Okay, so beyond the structure and the rules, the characters really drive this story. They're all agents of change. At the core of the historical part, you've got Shams of Tabriz. He's presented as this mystery. Wise, yes, but also blunt, totally unconventional.
Almost otherworldly.
Right. The book almost makes him feel like this force sent to just burn away illusions, wake people up, a kind of divine disruptor.
And then there's Rumi. He starts off as this esteemed scholar. Law, religion, that's his world. But meeting Shams triggers this huge internal shift, massive. Shams basically teaches him that knowledge without love, it's dead, lifeless. And that understanding transforms Rumi, makes him more human, more compassionate, turns him into the Rumi we think of today, the poet of the soul.
And parallel to that, in the modern day, there's Ella Rubinstein. She's kind of like a stand-in for the modern person, maybe feeling trapped in routine, a bit lost, disconnected from their deeper self.
Yeah, definitely.
Her spiritual awakening, it's on a different scale maybe, but it really echoes Rumi's transformation. Through Zahara, through Shams' philosophy that she reads about, she finds the courage to sort of reclaim herself, break free from that safe but stifling life.
And A.Z. Zahara, the author she connects with, he acts as her guide, the catalyst. He's like the modern mystic figure carrying these ancient Sufi insights into today's world, making them real and urgent for Ella. And the book just swims in these incredibly rich themes that really hit home if you're looking for meaning, for understanding. Let's touch on a few. First, love in all forms. And we need to be clear, this isn't mainly romantic love we're talking about. It's ishq hakiki, divine love, the kind that leads to ego death, union with the divine. It really contrasts those shallow attachments we sometimes form with these deep soul connections.
That concept, ishq hakiki, divine love,
Wow.
sounds intense. How does Shafak make that feel relevant to someone today? Someone who might think love needs romance and ego death sounds, well, scary.
That's a really good point. She grounds it through Ella. Ella, this modern woman, experiences a taste of it, maybe. Through her connection with Zahara, it's intellectual, emotional, but it pushes her inward towards something bigger. The book doesn't frame it as loss, like losing your ego, more like expanding beyond it. Another big theme is spiritual freedom versus religious orthodoxy. Rumi and Shams, they push back hard against rigid rules, against empty religious formalities. The novel is quite critical of using religion for control, but praises using spirituality for compassion, for openness. It subtly argues that this divine love, its very nature, dissolves those boundaries people create, a radical idea even now. And then there's transformation through suffering. This is huge in the book. Every main character goes through pain, betrayal, loss, real hardship. But it's through that suffering they grow. The book presents it not as failure, but as spiritual alchemy. It changes them. Finally, there's this beautiful embrace of unity and diversity. Shafak creates this space of interfaith harmony. Think about it. Ella is Jewish. Rumi is Muslim. Shams seems beyond any label. The message is powerful. Love doesn't care about religion, ethnicity, it just is. It connects us.
And the way Shafak tells the story, the craft of it, is just brilliant. She uses multiple narrators. We hear from Ella, Shams, Rumi, sure, but also from people on the margins, a drunkard, a beggar, a prostitute. It really shows how love, or the lack of it, touches everyone across all levels of society, shows its reach.
Oh, absolutely. And the language itself is so poetic. It's lyrical, full of metaphors, full of mysticism. You feel like every sentence has weight, like it's almost whispered wisdom. Plus, she uses powerful symbols throughout. The desert, the whirling dervish dance, mirrors, wine, fire, each one pointing towards different facets of spiritual awakening.
Yeah, and some lines just really resonate, don't they? They stick with you, like, do not go with the flow, be the flow. That's a powerful one. Or, you can study God through everything and everyone in the universe because God is not confined in a mosque, synagogue, or church.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't just pretty sentences. They're like little invitations to see things differently.
Now, it's true that while the book got huge acclaim globally, especially in the East and Middle East, some Western critics maybe found it a bit too spiritual, or maybe too direct in its message, didactic perhaps. But I think for readers who are open to that mystical insight, to exploring spirituality, the book is just, well, it's transformative. It offers a really different lens on life.
So bring it back to you, our listener. Why does this deep dive matter? Well, in a world that feels increasingly noisy, fearful, disconnected sometimes, the 40 Rules of Love is like this strong reminder, a reminder to go inward, to listen to that quieter voice of the soul, and to surrender to love, not just the feeling, but love as this divine presence all around us.
It really does hold up a mirror. And it's not always a flattering mirror, is it? It shows you things. It reveals. So we absolutely recommend it if you're searching for meaning, if you love Rumi's poetry, if you're curious about Sufism, spirituality, inner change, or honestly, if you're just ready to fall in love again, maybe not with a person, but with life itself. It's essential reading for anyone wanting something deeper, a book that definitely stays with you.
Elif Shafak really has created something special here. It works as a captivating story, but it's also in many ways a spiritual guide. She brilliantly channels the spirit of Rumi and Shams to speak right to those deep down longings we all have for connection, for meaning.
And think about this. The book really digs into transformation through love, yes, but also through suffering. So if the path to the truth is a labor of the heart, not of the head, as Shams says, what questions are waiting inside you? What inner journeys need that deep, honest look? And maybe, just maybe, embracing change like the rules suggest. Could that be the bravest thing you do in your own story? Something to think about.